Jordan O'Byrne, and this is my story.
Welcome everybody to Untold Sports Stories with Gerard O'Byrne. I'm here with a very special guest, Jordan O'Byrne. He happens to be my brother, but we are going to cover his background and how he got involved with sports. So we're going to start from the beginning, Jordan, because we're brothers, but there's I don't even know a lot of stuff about how you got started with basketball. So if you want to speak a little bit about what got you started with the sport.
So when I was little, mom and dad, they basically just put me into all kinds of sports, make sure I tried everything. And that continued probably to at least 4th or 5th grade. And basically I liked soccer, basketball, baseball, hated football.
I remember same thing. We got involved with a lot of different sports. Were you able to tell very early that basketball was your path?
Not really. I was pretty good at soccer for a while, but as I got the running picked up a little bit more, and I figured that wasn't for me. And then baseball, I was actually pretty good at that too, but I don't remember that much. But from what mom tells me, she said it was about 5th grade when her and dad were like, "Oh, okay, he's actually pretty good at basketball," and I've always played it with dads, and that's dad's favorite sport, so I've always been around it. But about 5th grade, 6th grade, about that time, it just clicked, and just stuck with it ever since.
And you played football for what, a few years?
Yeah, a few years.
Why'd you hate it?
Cause it just wasn't for me. I was a little chubby kid, so I had to play against the line, these big old 13, 14-year-olds when I'm 12 getting knocked the hell out. So, basketball was just a little bit less physically demanding.
All right, so you said about 5th grade is when you started to just figure it out?
I'd say about 5th grade, yeah.
All right. What were your goals from like 5th grade on? Like, what did you have aspirations in your mind? Did you know you wanted to play very far in life, or were you just like, just gonna stick with it until it's time to give it up?
Honestly, I didn't have any future goals in it. I just played because I liked it. I can't honestly remember back then if I wanted to be like an NBA, your typical kid dream. I don't think so, because I don't think it was probably about middle schoolish, about 7th or 8th grade when it was like real serious. So probably another year or two before I started having those I'm trying to get here. But spending most of my time overseas, the basketball culture really isn't the same. So like I didn't know about AAU basketball and things like that. So I really wasn't even thinking about college or nothing like that. I just played it because I was fun, and I just happened to be talented in it.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next point. If you wanted to talk about what it was like to, because not many people know that coming from a military family, we moved around a lot. So we actually got used to foreign basketball before we got used to American basketball. So if you want to talk about growing up, what was it like, having to travel, move to so many different places, and then getting used to so many different styles of play?
It's good. It was good. I feel like it definitely helped me out because most people know that Europeans are pretty good fundamentally, and I believe that's where I picked up most of my fundamental skills, was playing overseas. A combination of being in Korea, a little bit of Germany, and just watching Dad play in Germany. He'd go to tournaments, and just seeing him play against other Europeans and just being around it all the time. I wasn't thinking anything of it, but at the same time, I feel like I was soaking it up, soaking it in, and I feel like it helped me in the long run.
Okay, and going back to talking about Pops, because I was telling them the story a little while ago about how everybody forgets who we learned it from. Obviously, everybody around Lompoc knows you as the shooter, knows me as a shooter, but don't really know about Pops and understand that's where we got it from. How much did he have an effect of molding your game from a young age to where you are now?
A lot. Some of my earliest memories with dad is when going to the gym. I'm shooting underhand baskets, two-hand underhand baskets, and he's there playing. Or when he was my coach from an early age, and I think just because he loved basketball and I love basketball, it was a good like bonding. And then I feel like once he saw that I could be something in basketball, he always was there to push me, take me to that, help me go to that next level. Uh, Basically, all his, just everything he did for me was more than I could ask for because he helped push me get to me where I am today, and yeah.
Looking back on it, because Dad, as a coach, is very tough as a coach. He makes you run a lot. He gets on you. He's not one of those coaches that sugarcoats anything or gives that kind of sympathy. Looking back on it, do you feel like that actually helped you more than affected you? Because I know a lot of kids at a young age, when they get that very tough coach, that they are, it gets in their mind a little bit. And the fact that he was, dad, did it ever affect the kind of father-son relationship?
No, I don't believe it ever affected it. I really didn't feel like that was too bad of a coach. The only thing everybody hated was just that he made us run a lot. But I mean, nobody likes running, but in the long run, it definitely helped. But no, the father-son aspect, it was never bad or nothing. I actually liked it because more times than not, I was one of the better kids. So it would be cool. He would come up, like whisper something to me. You got to do this, or you got to do that, or just give me little words of encouragement, like behind the scenes. And then plus it's your dad, so you always want to just play good for him anyway. And so, yeah.
Were you a shooter all the way from the beginning, or did you start out as another, like more of a passer, more as like a driver, or?
Well, I was pretty big, in my younger years, like fourth, fifth, sixth grade. So I remember actually playing like center, playing center, playing small forward. But I could also dribble too, so I would be able to dribble and shoot. I could shoot a little bit, but not like what I can today. But yeah, it just was with body type. I never grew from that point on. I was about the same height in like fifth, sixth grade. Had dreams of being a 6'7", but something went wrong. And but yeah, no, I wasn't always a shooter. Dribble, playmaker, anything I could do to make the team win. And yeah, I didn't focus on shooting probably till about high school.
Okay. I don't remember you playing ball in Germany. Obviously, I was either not born or was too young. But we're gonna move to Korea. We got to Korea when you were in middle school.
Yeah, I think 7th grade.
And did your middle school have a basketball team?
Yes.
Did you play on that?
Yes, I did.
And talk about what that was like. Really getting, climbing up the ranks. Going from elementary to middle school. You're starting to play a little bigger kids, but now again we're in Korea. A little different than America.
Yeah. Well, we had just moved to Korea, and every time I moved to a new place, how I met kids would be to go to the basketball courts and play basketball. So at lunchtime, I would go to the courts and play basketball, and whatever kids were there playing, that's usually who I make friends with first. And for a good portion of the year, that's all I would do, go to play basketball at lunch. And then just playing more and more and more, people were like, oh, he's good, he's solid. And, from that point on, it was like, oh, you should try out for the team. Tried out for the team, ended up being one of the better players. And we would play other middle schools around the area. So we lived on a Yongsan Air Force Base. So we would go to like a Korean international school, and there'd be other like 4, 5, 6, 7 teams there. And over the course of a couple of days, you play like 4 or 5 of the teams, and basically who has the best record out of everybody gets the trophy. And it's some solid competition. They actually have schools out there where it's like basketball academies, so all they do is just play basketball, go to class for like fundamentals, weight training, stuff like that. So it was a good experience to see that there are like academies out there. That was the first time I was introduced to it. But yeah, it was a good experience. Definitely got to see how Korean teams play basketball, how disciplined they are, and it was just a good experience. You know, not many people get to do that.
Okay.
Fifth, sixth grade.
Then you did that for what, 2 years in middle school or one?
Yeah, 7th and 8th grade.
Okay, because we were there till the end of your freshman year in high school, right?
Yes, sir.
So we transitioned to high school basketball, and how was that? What was it, Osan High School you went to? No, that's not Osan. I forget the name. Yongsan High School.
Seoul American High School.
Yeah, and so you played that for a year as your freshman year. Did you play varsity?
I played for varsity for like a little bit less than half the year. It was open tryouts, and the better kids would make varsity, and the next ones would make JV. I was like the last couple of kids in for varsity, and a few probably 6 or 7 games into the season, I really wasn't playing too much, and they moved me down to JV, which was, I wasn't too upset about because now I get to play, and went down to JV and ended up being top scorer on JV and the MVP at the end of the season, and so that was probably my first meaningful good year of basketball. Even though I still felt like it was an accomplishment to make varsity as a freshman, even though I didn't get to play much. And I'm happy I went back down to JV because I probably wouldn't have been happy sitting the bench for most of the season. So it ended up working out for the best.
Understanding, and now after your freshman year, that's when we pack up and you move to California, and you end up enrolling at Cabrillo High School first.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what was it like transitioning after playing so long overseas. Now you're actually seeing American kids and what they bring to the table in the sport. So talk about what your first reaction was going up against these kind of guys.
When I first moved here, I would go out recess to lunch, and that's how I got my first introduction to Hoopers in California. It was okay. It was I don't think any of the actual team was out there, but it was a couple guys that ended up being lifelong friends that I met out there, played ball with, and from there, just word kind of spread. Hey, there's a kid that's pretty good who plays ball at lunch, and from there, I pretty much, when basketball season came around, I tried out, and I ended up making JV, and it was kind of a bummer, I thought I was, but the conditioning we went through, it was pretty tough. I remember that being real hard, but yeah, I ended up playing JV at Cabrillo my sophomore year.
Yeah, I've been told by every cat that I know from Cabrillo High School that it was rigorous conditioning programs that West would put you through.
Mm-hmm.
So sophomore year, you're on the JV team, and I think he carried almost 20 players on that team, if I remember correctly.
I don't know if it was that many, but it was
a lot.
Yeah,
but
it was quite a bit.
Well, the main thing about this coach was nobody understood. Well, at least me and Pops, we never understood his coaching methods or his substitution patterns when he would go 5 in, 5 out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you weren't playing a lot on JV, correct?
I wouldn't say that. I was playing a decent amount. I probably would say more than half the game.
Okay.
For sure.
But somewhere along your sophomore year, that's when you met Coach Vernon, who was the head coach at Lompoc.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about how, he got you to transfer to Lompoc.
Well, I had first met Coach Vernon the first time we had played Lompoc High School, which was our rival, and we went in at Lompoc High. We ended up beating them, and I had a pretty solid game. I don't know exactly what I did, but I know it was enough to catch the attention of Coach. He introduced himself, chatted it up. I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but it was just a quick, like your game, and then that was that. And then we played again at Cabrillo, and they ended up beating us. And at the the end of the game, chopped it up a little bit. As far as him getting me the transfer, I don't really know how that really went down. I mean, most of that was, I knew that he wanted me to come play at Lompoc and play with the Sun Trey and possibly do some real good things at Lompoc High School. But I can't really remember too much. I know Dad worked a lot of that out, details and transferring and all that. I just know that we had went past the point to where I couldn't really go back to Cabrillo anymore. So it was kind of like I had to go to Lompoc now because word had gotten out that I might be possibly transferring to Lompoc, and that didn't sit well with the Cabrillo people. So pretty much going to Cabrillo wasn't an option for my junior year.
Okay, so junior year you're at Lompoc High School, but it doesn't go the way you expected, if I'm correct, because your junior year you're still on the JV team, correct?
Yes, sir.
You know, talk about how I know that was a rough time. You know, junior year you just transferred thinking you're about to play varsity with all the compliments Coach Vernon gave you. So talk about how that affected you and how you were able to get through playing JV as a junior, knowing that you were better than a lot of the kids that were on the varsity team.
Yeah, I was disappointed because I did transfer hoping that I would be able to play varsity my junior year, but for whatever circumstances, I couldn't play varsity because of a transfer rule. Decided to play JV. And yeah, it sucked because I didn't. The competition, I definitely was better than pretty much most of it, and you can't really do much about it. So after a while, I just was like, well, let me just try and dominate, and just go out here and make the most of it, and just try and get ready for AAU summer ball. And that was just pretty much my mindset after the first initial blow of like, damn, I can't play varsity this year.
I give a lot of credit to Mom because Mom was we talk about how tough Dad was as a coach, and he put just Mom was just as tough because I always remember we weren't playing up to standards. You look at her in the stand and she's giving you that death stare, and to me that always was like there was no way I can get past that. If I saw that look, it was like crap. Like it would just stay with me the rest of the game. But talk about how not only having the tough pops, but Mom being a tough one as well helped you.
Yeah, no, Mom's just the biggest part of it is Dad. Dad, yeah, is the more tougher one. Mom's the sweeter side, or for the most part, the sweeter side. But yeah, if she's at your game and you're not playing up to standard, like for example, if I wasn't being aggressive enough or shooting enough, then she would definitely give me that look or shake her head, or just a look that I personally know that like, damn, I'm about to hear it after the game. Like, she about to tell me exactly what's on her mind. And that's cool because I know I would need it, and then I would just use that for the next game. And then I know she would go back to me in a suite right after she would tell me, you needed this, and this, and then right after it'd be like, I still love you, da da da. But no, she's definitely a big support system. Always, breaking schedules to get me to practice, or finding money out of nowhere to get me shoes or whatever I needed to be successful in basketball or anything. She would be there for me. So definitely a big part of why I was successful.
All right, so junior year is finished. You're heading into your senior year. The last couple years obviously haven't gone the way that you had thought they would or hoped they would. So talk about your mindset going into your senior season at Lompoc.
I was actually pretty pumped. I was ready. I just came off the summer AAU basketball, won a few tournaments, and it was feeling good. My jump shot was getting real good. I've been working on some post stuff with my coach at the time, Coach Vernon, and that was coming through. And it was just a good time. And all the seniors the year before, both the seniors were gone, so I was basically stepping into it was basically my team stepping into it, and it was a good experience. I was definitely confident. Um, I remember somebody telling me like, um, somebody from the girls team, they were like, "Oh, it's hard to average 10 points," and then like jokingly, I was like, "I'll double that." And like I didn't mean it to come off like cockiness or nothing. I was just like confident, like I'm ready to do this. And so yeah, when senior season came around, I was pretty pumped, ready to get to it.
And I mean, by the time your senior year, you were kind of already like known throughout Lompoc, correct?
Yeah, just from local leagues, pickup,
Yeah.
things like that.
But senior year, it took off.
Hmm.
You exploded, had a killer season. I think won MVP if I remember correctly. I think you broke quite a bit of records at Lompoc, right?
I couldn't tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think you broke records, but senior year, that's when your name and your game really took off. Talk about what that felt like to you. That you got your shot and you took off running with it, and now everybody around the city knew who you were, and you had developed a reputation as one of the best basketball players in the city.
I mean, it feels good. Anything feels good when people recognize you for being one of the better people of what you do, and definitely, just that senior season just helped propel me to All-Star games and yeah, MVP season. And we actually won the Los Padres League title, and yeah, it was just a good all around feeling. And that basically just helped me platform into the next level of my career. That and dad. So yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better senior season. Except like make McDonald's All American or something like that. But outside of that, no, I have no regrets in my senior season.
Yeah, and I mean it was a lot of fun to watch. I remember every game. There was almost packed, if I remember correctly. But talk about but that senior year, you were putting up numbers left and right, killing everybody. But when you played Cabrillo, it was a whole different mentality for you. I think you were putting up almost 40, right? When you played one game, when you played Cabrillo, did you have did you really take it personal when you played Cabrillo after the history that happened when you left there?
Yeah, probably back then. I was definitely. I couldn't tell you exactly what I was feeling as a senior, but I'm pretty sure there was some hard feelings. So I did make it a point to be like, to go a little bit extra because I did feel like, for whatever reasons, for why I left, like it was just handled terribly, and I had to pay the price of not being able to play my junior year on varsity. So I did play with some extra oomph to it, and also I knew I had to because mom and dad were there, so I couldn't just go out average. So yeah, and definitely back then, yeah, there was a little bit of, I don't want to say hatred, but there's just some ill will that gave me some extra motivation to play.
All right. And after your senior year, you said MVP of the league, All-Star games, a lot of recognition. What did it feel like to not really have any college offers coming out of high school?
I don't know. I guess it was disheartening a little bit, but at the same time, I knew I'd only play 1 year on varsity. I just moved back to the United States a couple years ago. Didn't really know about AAU and promoting yourself like that and things of that nature to get YouTube, things like that, just to get your stuff out there to let people notice. So, I just took it. I don't remember what my plans were, basketball wise. I know I think I was trying to go to Humboldt, if I'm not mistaken. And for whatever reason, that didn't work out. And I don't know how Dad got in contact with Yuba or Yuba got in contact with us, but that transpired in like 2 weeks after I graduated. I was already on my way up to Sacramento.
Yeah, you went to Yuba College, and that is a junior college, but that is one of the best basketball junior colleges in the state of California. Um, Trust me, I've seen it firsthand. But you get up there, and I didn't get to meet the whole team, but I saw a couple of players, and I mean, you got 6'8", 6'9", you know, some hoopers up there, and you ended up having a gray shirt that year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why was that?
I don't remember why exactly I had the gray shirt. I think it was honestly just to give me an extra year to get like stronger, get better, so that way my clock didn't start for basketball. Because for basketball you only get 4 years plus a medical red shirt if you were to get injured. So by gray shirting, I was not taking a full class load, but just like right underneath, so that way I could still practice with the team, get better, play against better competition, and just throughout that next year, just get better and prepare for the next season.
So after, again, you know, 3 years in Lompoc playing, you know, growing your name, become one of the best basketball players in the city. What was it like when you got to Yuba and realized, like, you know, now you're around a lot of guys in the competition, you know, jumped a few levels than what you had gotten used to the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big jump, but when it comes to basketball, I've never been like the one that be in shock and awe of anybody on the basketball court. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, they got to lace up their shoes just like mine. So they might be bigger, jump higher, but, I mean, when I go out there, I'm going to play just as hard, just as tough. So none of that really mattered to me too much. But, I mean, they were definitely good hoopers. Had a few guys that played in the Sacramento Pro-Am, and so it was definitely a good competition, but eventually I became friends with a lot of the guys, so we would work out, shoot together. So, I mean, after a while you just get used to the competition and, you know, either step up or get left.
So after your gray shirt year, you ultimately transferred back to a local JUCO, Allen Hancock College, and moved back home. What went into the decision for that?
I don't know, it was just a little bit easier, just, you know, being home, being around people, you know. And then my high school coach, Coach Vernon at the time, had got hired at Allen Hancock, the college that's close to us. And he was telling me, yeah, you should come back and play for me and da-da-da-da. And, you know, I just played with them in high school a year before, and, you know, mom and dad here, and don't got to pay rent and all that type of stuff. And, you know, it just seemed like the logical choice. So, you know, ended up back here.
All right, and you get to Hancock, and you know you realize that there was a crazy coach. What was it, Ralph Gordon? That was his name. You know, I think one of the, like I said, you played for him. I didn't, but the stories I would hear, he was one of the craziest coaches that I've ever heard about. You know, talk about what it was like to play under that man.
No, that was a whole nother animal. So Allen Hancock, man, their conditioning program was just off the charts. Like at one point, that it had me contemplating quitting basketball. Like,
Yeah, I remember you came home, and I think you had to run a mile in like 5 or 6.
no, like 5:30.
Yeah, something like that. And I remember you telling Dad like you weren't sure if you could do that.
That was that, but no, there was one time we were running so many sprints, and I was just about to walk off. Like, I couldn't do it no more. And Coach Sherman was like, "Nah, get your ass back out on that line. You're not gonna quit today." I mean, he pushed me through that because my mind was made up. I was for sure about to just walk off and take my shoes off because it was pointless how much running we was doing. Cause like we had I think it was 8 or 9 week conditioning program, like all types of running, just everything you could think of, plyometrics, boards, Indian runs, like mile runs, 5-mile runs, like literally probably could have gave the track team a run for their money. And so yeah, after that, man, it was tough. I probably lost like 20, 30 pounds, but you know, best shape of my life, that's for sure.
Yeah, I guess you could definitely say the man had a method to his madness. And I mean, I know you guys went through a lot of crazy times, but kind of just like your senior year of high school, Allen Hancock, you took off freshman year. Did you start freshman year?
I did not. Sat the bench the first game until the last like 20, 30 seconds because we were down like 6 and they needed me to hit a 3. I didn't hit it, and we ended up losing.
Wasn't it freshman year to where there was like a situation that happened with the team, and I think like what 4 or 5 or 4 all the 5 starters got like benched for that game or something like that.
It was our first game.
That was the game?
Yeah, it was our first game. The starters played for most of the game. We ended up losing, and it was a new 5 the next game.
Oh, okay. Were you one of those 5?
I was the new 5 in the next
the new
game.
5.
Yeah.
And how'd that go?
It went pretty good. I ended up having like 27, 28 points.
Yeah.
And for the most part of the season, I started from then on out.
After that game, that's when it kind of just like didn't look back. But what did it feel like? Always having to look over your shoulder the way Ralph Gordon coached and all that kind of stuff. If you made one mistake, you were out, and he was in your grill.
Yeah. It was. It's definitely got to get used to it. It was a hard coach, but I knew that, it was a lot of yelling and a lot of this and that, but he just wanted to win, and that's how passionate he was about it. And we each have our own, like I'm very calm and collected, and he's very open and vocal about it. And people handle their anger or their frustrations in whatever way. And I really wasn't worried, because nobody's going to play the game perfect. So, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. There's a good chance you're going to get pulled, but at the same time, you can't play the game worrying about if you're going to make a mistake. So, and then, plus, if you build up, like if you're one of the better people, more times than not, he'll yell at you, but he's not going to take you out.
One thing I've told Dad plenty of times is if being yelled by Dad and then being yelled at by Coach Sherman, anybody else can't really compare those two. That's how I've had my personal take on it. But I've never been yelled at by that man. But so you finished freshman year, and did you guys win the league that year?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, your freshman year, and you guys win your conference, and I don't know if that was the first one, but I think it was the first one in a long time you guys had done something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then now you transfer to your sophomore year at Hancock, and you're talking about your sophomore year. How was that?
Sophomore year was great. Let's see, all the sophomores from the year before I left. So, and since I was one of the better freshmen that was on the starting lineup, I basically stepped into one of the leading captain roles. So I stepped into a situation where basically the team was mine and a few other guys that were there. We were basically the leaders, and it was good. It was I had a fantastic senior season. Had the green light as far as shooting. I had been in the gym all summer working out, so the jump shot was good. And yeah, I was ready for my senior year because I was trying to go to the D1 colleges after that. So I was ready to put in the work for my sophomore year.
Okay, and after your sophomore year, you had a terrific sophomore year. Talk about what the recruiting process was like after your 2 years at JUCO and having a really good career at Allen Hancock.
I look back on it, and I probably should have been more actively involved in my own recruiting. But back then, I had let my head coach do most of that, the recruiting stuff, do the contacting the coaches and whatnot. I got a few, I'd say about probably 8 to 9 different schools between Division I and Division II and NAIAs and a couple of schools that were interested or wanted me to come out for a visit or things like that. But I definitely, just getting a few was a blessing. Not having that people were interested. But I feel like definitely that if I would have promoted myself, that I could have probably did. I mean, I don't have any regrets or anything, but I probably could have went somewhere a lot, maybe higher profile, or that could have boosted me getting, I don't know, maybe even further than what I got. But yeah, no regrets. But when I look back on it, there might be a couple things I would have did different.
So you end up signing with the College of Idaho NAIA school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what that transition was like going from California to Idaho.
I guess it was a pretty big one, but it wasn't that bad because I went with a teammate of mine from Hancock. So I went there with somebody I knew, ended up rooming together. So I mean, that was definitely a big help. But just the difference in weather, definitely, they got snow, gets below zero over there. But the people there are real nice. Definitely not as ethnically diversified as it is here. But it really wasn't that bad. It was definitely a lot calmer and chill than I thought it would be.
My bad.
A lot chiller than I thought it would be. So it really wasn't too bad of a transition. And plus being, military, I've lived in all types of weather anyway. So
Yeah, that's what I tell people up in Indiana, that being military, it's moved around, so adjusting's not that hard. But so you get to Idaho, and I think, was it right before the season, you were told something that happened with your credits at Hancock, so you were told that you weren't eligible to play for that first year?
Yeah, so I had a red shirt my first year out there.
Talk about that, when you found that news and that you had to sit out the year.
Well, that was a bummer, because I felt like I was always sitting out a year here and there. So, that sucked for the first couple of weeks. Grades slipped a little bit because I really wasn't, trying to do anything. But I got them back up, and, I just dealt with it, used it to just lift and, work on my jump shot more, get better, so that when the next season came around, I'd be ready to go.
And I mean, if you ask me, I think that turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because after that season, the coach had gotten fired for obviously not doing too well, and that's when Coach Scott Garson comes in, and he was an assistant from UCLA, right? When Kevin Love was there, from the Division I level, and guess you could say he really turned that program around.
Yep.
He gets in there, and then you guys blossom into one of the best NAIA teams in the country, right?
Yes, sir.
So that ended up becoming a blessing in disguise. So talk about what it was like, being on that kind of team where you guys are, receiving you guys are top 3 in the national rankings and stuff like that. What was it like playing on that kind of team with all these kind of guys?
I mean, it was fun. We had a collection of guys from everywhere, California, a couple of overseas guys, what was it, London, and I forget where Marco's from. But yeah, and then a couple 7-footers, some athletes. So it was just a good collection of guys. And then the style of play, wanted to get up and down, play defense, and push the ball. So that's always fun to put up points. And then with the coach, who's also I think he only yelled maybe 4 or 5 times, but the whole time that I would play for him. But he was definitely somebody fun to play for. Definitely a player's coach. Always trying to get us to do group activities and stuff like that. Go to the movies, hang out, and so it was a good atmosphere. And then off the court, we all hung out with each other too. So it was a real close niche team with definitely a lot of personalities.
And going back to, that's why I said it was a blessing in disguise, because the guy who came with you, Taylor, right?
Mm.
After that, your first year being able to play, you said you guys would go all the way to the tournament and advance or losing after a couple rounds or something, but you guys are known, and now he has to graduate, but you still get that second year.
Mm-hmm.
So you come back, and your junior year there, you were the starter, correct?
Mm-hmm.
what happened senior year that you became the sixth man?
Um, think oh yeah, one of our players was a dual sport player, played soccer and basketball, and he decided to cut out the soccer and just focus on basketball. And I believe he was like 6'4", 6'5", whatever. And so it just gave us a better like length and height at the position. And I would just come in off the bench as six man and just start shooting it. And yeah, I didn't start, but I probably played right below starters minutes, so it wasn't too bad. And then plus, like, I knew my responsibility was to come in and shoot, so who wouldn't want to like come in and just, hey, we need you to shoot. So it's not a bad look, and I didn't take it as like a step back. I just embraced it in like a Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford type role. So that was perfectly fine with me, and that ended up actually being good. Shot like I had top 10 in the country in percentage 3-pointers and top 10 in makes. So even in that 6-man role. So
Okay, and going through your senior year in college, once again, you guys are one of the best teams in the nation. Go to the tournament. I think you go a couple rounds, then you end up losing in the quarterfinals or something. I don't remember. It was around that area where I think you guys lost. What was that feeling like when that final buzzer sounded? Then you knew that was your last college game.
It was tough. I mean, I know I cried because basketball has been a part of my life for so long, and like at least up until that point, like I knew like more games were promised. Like I knew like I'd always have the next year or the next year, barring injury or anything like that. And then when that senior that final one went off, it was just like it's over. Cause I wanted to play at the next level, but obviously that's not guaranteed. So in that moment, it was over, and we didn't win, and we had lost. So it was rough. Cause nobody wants to know that last day, hear that last horn. So.
Well, I can tell you personally, at least you got to go out on your own terms. That's something that you can take back and be proud of. So when you graduate college, you got your degree. You had aspirations to play pro ball. Wanted to go overseas, right? And nothing was really happening. But then you gotta talk about China. How that all came to be about.
So a former Hancock player who I'm friends with ended up, after he finished playing, getting into like coaching and recruiting and making all these basketball connections and whatnot. And one day he hit me up and was like, "Oh, I got a spot on my team. You trying to come over to China?" And I was like, "Yeah, when is it?" And he told me the dates, and I got it all situated, got my passport and all that, and yeah, got to go with him over to China in about 2 weeks or so, and play some games. This little, I forget what it was, a little like pro-am thing for a bunch of for this little province in China. Not little, it's a lot of people, but this province in China, and got to play with like White Chocolate, Jay Williams, and Boobie Gibson from the Cavaliers, and a bunch of other overseas players. So it was a real good experience.
So you did that, and you were playing in front of like scouts for other overseas programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you come back from China, and nothing really circulated about overseas contracts or something like that. If you had to, do it again, what do you think you would have done differently about maybe getting your name out there a little bit more, or just doing it differently than what had happened?
Probably I would have just did more reaching out Probably would have stayed on my workout a little bit harder. Cause I did slip after I was done. It felt good to not do anything after, after for months. It felt good to just not like have to eat a certain way or to run or like I love basketball, but at the same time it is demanding, and I've been in the same basketball routine for the past 15, 16 years. Never really got a break, so. But I feel like I would have kept my, foot on the gas, made more connections, tried to, just try to get, try harder to get through that door. Cause, I feel like back then I probably could have made it, so. And yeah, I was just lazy and didn't put in the effort that I should have put in to making my dreams come true.
Do you regret anything?
I don't regret the journey. Like I said, if anything, I would probably just be that after I graduated that I got comfortable and didn't try and go for more.
Okay, so I mean, right now you live in Lompoc, got a nice little family. Still play a lot of these leagues around here, right?
Yeah.
So what's the plan now? I know you had told Pops that you might try to make a comeback.
Yeah, I know. I've been feeling pretty good lately. Been doing in my little leagues. Competition's pretty good, and been doing pretty good. But yeah, I just I would love to try. Trying G League would be great if I could find some other like overseas thing or just any type of contact that would be good. I hit somebody up that was looking for a shooting guard in G League spot, but he said I needed an agent, and he said his agent rep fee was $250, and there'll be another $150 for the tryout, and I ain't got no $500 lying around right now, so I can't do that. So I probably honestly my only options right now is just keep working out. And go to any like little tournaments or anything like that. But after that would be any exposure from like LA to like, I don't know, San Francisco, somewhere where a lot of hoopers. I think me and Anthony might try and do that little LA 3-on-3 tournament, and I'm up there too, so.
Okay.
Things like that.
All right, well, that sounds, rooting for you.
Appreciate it.
Got you. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. You are the first person
Of course.
that the show has started off with. I'm glad that you were able to tell us your story, and look forward to having you on again, sir.
Appreciate it, sir, and thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.